Mhm. Yo, what's up, YouTube? What's good? And this is really kind of more on a gossip side. It's pretty interesting though. So I decided to make a live stream, a video about it. I notice whenever I'm out and about in public and I sit near a woman or right next to a woman, like I'll be at a Starbucks or even the library or mainly like at a little coffee shop like a Starbucks. And or even like a fast food restaurant, whenever I sit next to a woman in public or sit near her, the last thing she does right before she leaves is use the restroom. Whenever I sit next or near to a woman in public, the last thing she does right before she leaves is use the restroom. And this is pretty interesting. I noticed this actually a few months ago, but I kind of forgot about it. But I never a few months ago when the thought came to my head when I noticed this interesting trend with women, I didn't really think to make a YouTube video or a live stream about it. And I thought about it a couple times, and I kind of forgot about it until earlier today, actually a couple hours ago. This happens to me a lot. Almost every time I sit near a woman in like a Starbucks or a fast food restaurant, the last thing she does right before she leaves is use the restroom. It's weird. It's like literally they can't use the restroom. They never use the restroom. It's weird how they use the restroom. It's like the only time you can use the restroom is right before you leave. The only time you can use the restroom is right before you leave. And that pattern is strange. The only time a woman can use the restroom is right before she leaves or is finna go home. It's like this happens to me every time. So I know this shit ain't no coincidence. I know this shit ain't no coincidence. And I did peep this. Already know why. I'm finna explain it. What I think is really going on with these women. I'm finna explain it to you. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. And me, I can read body language, right? I can read a woman's body language. You know, I know when a woman is being sexually turned on by me. You know, there's been times where I'm around a woman and I could just sense energetically and by her body language that I'm sexually turning her on. And this has happened a few times, right? I'm sitting next to a woman, I'm near her, and I could tell, I can energetically feel when I'm turning on a woman sexually, or if me and a woman have like a mutual attraction to each other. And whenever I sit near these women, the last thing they do right before they leave the public setting that we're in is use the restroom. And it leads me to only one answer. It leads me to one answer because, like, this happens to me every time I sit next to a woman. So you telling me the only time a woman can use the restroom is right before she leaves? Like there, how come these women aren't using the restroom, you know, on a different time frame, Why can't they ever just use the restroom when they first come in? Why can't these women use the restroom when they first sit next to me or when I first sit next to them? Why is that? Why do they always have to go to the restroom right before they leave? It's like, what are these women doing? But in this society, women aren't sexualized in that type of way. Women are supposed to be the innocent ones, right? You rarely hear a woman getting in trouble about sexual harassment. You know, you don't really hear about a lot of sex scandals involving women as the perpetrators. You know, in this society, the only people who are really viewed as sex hungry and perverts are men. But really, if you want to be more detailed, it's really black men. Black men are the only ones in this society who people really attach to sex. Black men are the only people in this society who are supposed to like sex, and black men were supposed to be these rapists who just love sex, and all we think about is sex. And black men have a history in this society, in American society, being hypersexualized. Black men are so hypersexualized, and everyone else in this society is just supposed to be these innocent saints who don't like sex, and which is totally bullshit. I know why these women are always go to the bathroom when they're around me in public. Because these fucking bitches are freaks. These bitches are freaks. And this is when I noticed what was really going on with these women. I remember it was like this Indian girl. I was at a Starbucks. It was like this Indian girl, a Pakistani. She could have been from either country. She could have been from Bangladesh. She, that part of Asia where the people look Indian. If they're not from India, then they're from Pakistan or Bangladesh or Sri Lanka. I don't know the exact ethnicity of this woman because I did not speak to her to find out. But let's just say she was Indian. This Indian girl, I could energetically this time in this specific situation with this Indian girl, I actually this time was not sitting right next to her. She was sitting like a decent amount across from me. She wasn't even that close to me, but I could sense that we had like a mutual sexual attraction with each other. And she was decent. She had a nice little ass, nice little body. She wasn't a 10 or whatever, but she was fuckable, right? She was attractive enough for me to be sexually turned on by her. And I could sense that it was mutual, right? I could sense she was attracted to me too, and I could just sense it energetically, and I could sense it on her body language. She was smiling at me a little bit and whatever. You guys know the deal. And right before she left, right before she left the Starbucks, she went and used the restroom. Then I thought to myself, it's like, this has happened to me before. On that day, this is what I was thinking to myself. This has happened to me before. Why do women always use the restroom right before they leave? When I'm, it's like there's different times to use the restroom. They could use they could use the restroom right when they got to the Starbucks. But how come they always have to use the restroom when they leave the Starbucks? There are other times to use the restroom, right? So I'm thinking to myself, if this happens to me all the time, whenever I'm around a woman in a public setting and she uses a restroom right before she leaves, I'm thinking these women, they're not using the restroom to piss or take a shit. Because if they were, then if if these women who are around me in these public settings were using the restroom to take a shit and piss, then it wouldn't be only on one time frame right before she leaves that she'll have to use the restroom. If you really have to use the restroom in a public setting, you need to use the restroom at any time, right? If I need to use the restroom, I'm going to use the restroom right when right when I get to that public setting, or in the middle, right in the middle of the time I'm in that public setting. You know, not when I first get there or not when I leave. In the middle, you have to use the restroom as a human being at various times, not only when you need to leave a place. That's not the only time you need to use a restroom, is when you're about to leave a setting. So I know these women were not using the restroom because they need to take a shit or a piss. These fucking women who I'm around, a lot of times I can sense we have mutual sexual attraction to each other. And these women always go to the restroom when I'm sitting right next to them, right before they leave, though. It's always right before they leave. And this has happened to me over 10 times. It's always right before they leave. And me, I'm intelligent. I'm not no stupid motherfucker. You feel me? I know people in this society, people in general, in every society actually, are some freaky motherfuckers. And I know I don't have that perception of women that they're angels and they're innocent saints. This dude behind me is low key following me. So I'm finna switch aisles. I'm at the store, by the way, but that's besides the point. Um, I don't have that perception of women that they're saints, they're angels. These bitches out here are fucking freaks, freaky ass bitches who like to do freaky shit. These bitches are going to the restroom whenever I sit next to them, and they always do it right before they leave. They do it because they go into the restroom. They're sexually turned on by me, and they go into the restroom to play with a pussy. That's what I think. That's what I think. That's what I think they're doing. I'm sitting next to these women in public. They're feeling me. They're turned on by me, and they're turned on by me so much that right before they leave, they know they need to go to that restroom and play with that pussy. That's what I think these women are doing. It's like this happened to me today. It was like this young African woman was at a fast food restaurant, right? See, I know myself. You know, I'm not the type of I'm not arrogant. I'm not the type of dude who likes to brag. I'm a humble person, but I know I'm an attractive black man. So I know a lot of women are sexually attracted to me. I'm just being humble, but I'm keeping it real. I know a lot of women are sexually attracted to me. So, and this young African woman, I'm not gonna lie, she was thick. She was thick, nice fat ass, nice thick thighs. I noticed her body when I first came in. When she first came in, actually, I was there before her at this fast food restaurant. Then I actually leave. Then I came back, to charge my phone and use the Wi-Fi. And I'm sitting close to her, a couple seats from her, you know, and I'm a pimp, so I know when a bitch is feeling me. Even when it's subtle, I can sense, okay, this African bitch is feeling me a little bit. Then right before she got up and was ready to leave, first she did something to really show interest in me. She got up, she had her little laptop out, whatever. She put her laptop out up in her bag, you know. Then after she put her laptop up, she stood up and you know women, women when they want to tease a man, women do subtle little things like play with they pick up their pants. If a woman has a nice ass and they want to show it off to a dude, they play these little games like pull up their pants so they butt can wiggle. I don't know how to explain it. Like women, they have this thing where when they're wearing like tight jeans or tight leggings, they'll pull it up so you can see their booty move and jiggle up. They'll like stretch their pants up above their waist, you know, with both their hands, so I can see their butt like move up and down and jiggle and shit. You know the games women play. Then she did that right in front of me, and I could tell. Okay, she want me to see that ass. She's trying to make that ass jiggle right in front of me. Then after she did that little freaky shit, I already knew what, I'm like in my mind, I'm like, okay, this bitch finna go to the restroom. This little African freaky bitch is finna go to this restroom right before she leaves, cause this shit happens all the time. And she went to the restroom, and she was in that bitch for like 10 minutes. I already know what I already know what she was doing. I'm like, okay, this bitch in that restroom playing with that pussy. This little bitch is in the restroom. This little African bitch in the restroom playing with that pussy. Then when I saw her leave the restroom. She was in the restroom for like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, this bitch playing with her pussy, little freak bitch. Then as she leaves out of the fast food restaurant, she looked back at me. I'm like, okay, but it wasn't as obvious as when the Indian bitch. I told you guys about this Indian bitch a few minutes ago, but the Indian bitch in the Starbucks, it was more energetically obvious. Cause I could tell by the Indian bitch, she was really, really feeling me. And as soon as she got up to the restroom, I already knew what she was gonna do. The Indian bitch was like, okay, she going to the restroom and play her little pussy, then she gonna leave. As soon as she hopped up and went to the restroom, I'm like, okay, she finna play with her pussy, then leave the Starbucks. Wherever they hop up and go to the restroom, I already know what they finna do. They finna go to the restroom, play with their pussy in the restroom for like 10 minutes, cause I turned their ass on. Then they finna leave the Starbucks. It happens to me every fucking time. These little bitches are freaks. These little bitches are freaks out here, man. Real talk. But are you guys? I expect this situation to happen several more times, but all right, you guys, peace.